Alright, we're back for the second episode of the Whiskey Play for the first Battle of Bull Run. Now we've expanded to the south here. We can see Henry Hill. This is going to be the main Confederate line of defense. I should be able to attack across the stone bridge now with Tyler. I have Sherman and Keyes up there. Again, I'm trying to cut off B. So I'm going to make sure Franklin is double time marching. Howard's going to try and shoot at B to hold them up. Actually, I might have them charge into B. I don't think they can actually charge right now. Anyways, okay, here we go. Alright, Franklin's getting into the woods. There you go, Howard. Shift you around. Alright, now we're going to charge with Porter. I'm going to try and catch up with B there. Now I'm going to march with Howard down to try to secure this bridge. Wilcox and Burnside are both going to march down to try to secure the ferry, or the ford too. Franklin's going to move forward. Oh. Got some artillery coming in here. Alright, Sherman is going to come down on Beauregard and the 1st Louisiana Tigers. We're going to come across. Keyes is going to come down as well. Alright, let's go ahead and fire our guns. Jeb Stewart's riding up. Keyes is going to march double time. I'm going to go ahead and hit pause here so I can see what's going on everywhere. B, that's that group from that I just routed there, B. So I'm going to put Franklin into these trees right there. Howard's marching, Burnside's marching, Wilcox is marching. I'm going to leave Porter up there for right now. I don't want to get too strung out. That was the mistake the Union made in real life. So I'm going to bring all of these down so I can be on this hill overlooking both of these, this crossing and this crossing. Franklin's group is going to come up and take these trees and shoot at B here, and then eventually try to take this crossing. And then once I get across the stone bridge here with Tyler, Sherman and Keyes, I'm going to try to hold down this area with, probably at least 2 of these battalions. And then I'm going to go ahead and move my artillery across the river at that point. And then we'll try to capture Henry Hill. Henry Hill's over here, so we've got a long way to go before we can capture that. But I want to try to secure this ford with Howard, so I'm going to move Howard up across. Get Howard across the ford and into this cover right there. Franklin is moving into these trees. All my artillery here is moving down this way. Burnside's going to move across. I'm going to move Burnside all the way up to here. And I'm going to move Wilcox all the way up through. And we'll use Howard to secure the ford. And then I'm going to try and come around this southern flank, southwestern flank, and then roll up from this side while my artillery eventually ends up parked here. So it's going to be the old hammer and anvil My anvil side is going to be, I'm going to have these 3 groups of infantry up here to be the anvil. I'm going to smash basically from the hammer side, smash them back towards the river, and they won't be able to get across the river. That's my idea anyway. We'll see how it pans out here. Trying to look at the wider battlefield here. Let's go ahead and charge with Sherman. I don't know why Sherman's not charging. He's in 90% condition. He should be able to charge. Alright, so now we got a wheel. So we're wheeling once we secure the ford. Got artillery coming in hot down there. Alright, come on, Sherman. Go take these. Alright. Get in there, Sherman. So I think we've routed the Louisiana Tigers, more or less. I don't know why I can't charge with Sherman. There we go. Charge, Sherman. 2,800 men to 314. Moving my artillery forward. Let's go ahead and double time with these a-holes. So I want to limber them. That's probably the problem here. Nope. That was the wrong way to limber them. I'm gonna limber them onto horses. Limber you guys onto horses as well. There you go. Now you can move. I'm gonna hit pause again so I can see where I'm at. Alright, so Howard's holding the ford. I'm gonna just move them just a little bit more forward. Right there. Burnside and Wilcox are coming across. We're going to march up, try to take this. Basically, Burnside and Wilcox are going to march up and try to take this southern tree line forest. And like I said, they're the hammer. This is going to be the anvil up here with Sherman and Keyes. Franklin is just trying to hold everything down. Porter, again, I don't want to get too strung out. I want to keep some retreat lines open. So I'm going to leave Howard here to guard the ford. That way, if I do have to retreat back across the river, I've got the ford guarded. I've got the other hill guarded here by Porter's group. Franklin is in an advantageous spot, although I am going to rotate Franklin. And then actually, you know, Franklin is going to go ahead and charge that battery because I'm tired of that. We should get rid of them. Keyes has pretty much secured this town. Sherman has gone through the Tigers. So I think at this point we have pretty much captured this hill. So we're going to go ahead and move everybody forward. I'm actually going to move them one at a time because they're not real great at this. That cavalry, I'm going to move the cavalry up there. You're there, you're there, you're there, you're there. Hunt can move back to here. I'm going to put all my artillery on this hill. Sherman, I'm going to move down to guard this ford. Keyes is going to stay in the city for right now. Tyler will move up to right here. I'm going to keep Tyler in reserve. I think I got everybody moving right now. McDowell? Is McDowell moving up? McDowell can move up to there. My supply wagon can move up as well. So I've got Franklin over here guarding my supplies, Howard over here guarding my supplies. So I got my supplies surrounded on both sides. So I think we're good to go. So we'll start the battle going again. Keyes is going to turn. There you go, Keyes. Now you can fire at these shitheads. Sherman. Moving forward, moving my artillery forward. Franklin is going to go. I actually want Franklin to shoot at B as he's crossing the river there. Alright, so Burnside's going to come up here. Wilcox is going to come right through there. Wheel Wilcox and Burnside around. And then we're going to start marching up towards that hill. And then from here we can go ahead and fire. Unlimber my artillery. So Franklin's going to guard this ford. Alright, this might get a little interesting. I might have to move my supplies back just a little bit here. Alright, let's unlimber right here. Shoot at these a-holes. Shoot at these a-holes. Let's move our supplies back to the trees. Let's move McDowell back to the trees. I'm going to move my cavalry over here to help guard in case we get a little counterattack going. I'm going to go ahead and shift Keyes around so he's should be in cover. I'm going to go ahead and hit pause real quick, take a look at where I'm at. So I got Stewart behind my lines here, which is... that makes sense. Stewart would do that. I'm going to move Porter up here to this grove of trees. He'll be effectively guarding the town from there, but I'll be able to support my artillery as well. Howard's fine there. Burnside, Wilcox is almost up. From here, I'm going to bring Wilcox around and come up towards Stenard. Burnside's going to go ahead and march on Stenard. And then Howard might move up in a little bit, but I kind of feel like I need to keep guarding this ford for a little while. They've got a lot of troops in here. So while they do have the interior lines, I've kind of surrounded them and flanked them to the south already. Now what I have to be careful of, again, this is going back to the Civil War, the attacker often becomes the defender rather quickly because they are going to come up with reinforcements here from the south. I know that's historical, so I have to be careful. I think I've got a really good line of defense on this bank here. I think between Franklin and Porter moving up and this artillery, I'll have a good line of defense here. Howard is securing my crossing back across the river. If everything falls through, I'm going to retreat Burnside and Wilcox back across. And hopefully we'll be okay at that point. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and attack with Burnside and Wilcox. I'm going to march Franklin up a little closer, so he's going to be guarding this crossing a little better. Alright, let's make sure all my cannons are up. Let's move this cannon group down here a little bit more. Tyler's being held in reserves. I'm going to move Tyler up a little bit more. Sherman is not in very good cover here. Keyes is in good cover. Franklin's not in great cover. I'm going to try to get Franklin in better cover, so I'm going to put Franklin in that town. Howard's in solid cover. Wilcox is moving forward. Burnside is going to rotate. Wilcox is going to halt. Now Burnside and Wilcox are going to be hammer and anvil here. They're the hammer, the rest of my group is the anvil, and I'm going to go ahead and move Howard forward as well. So I am leaving that ford unguarded, but I've got 3 groups of infantry to come across if I need to. Halt Burnside. March Wilcox forward a little more. Take on that 33rd Virginia. Alright, Porter's going to go get... Where... Do I have any cavalry? Yeah, I got some cavalry. Oh, they're a small group of cavalry, though. I'm going to have Porter move forward to this village here. Let me go ahead and hit pause again. I got some other stuff going on. Franklin needs to rotate. Franklin's in better cover now, but Franklin needs to rotate so he's appropriately aligned. He's appropriately aligned. Sherman is not in good cover, but I really don't know where else to put him. I feel like I'm pretty strong over here. I might move Tyler. I'm going to move Tyler over to there. So Tyler's going to be my reserve. And again, I've got the exterior lines, so I don't really know where I'm going to need extra troops. I've got very exterior lines being a complete circle all the way around. I'm trying to do the hammer and anvil, so this side is my anvil, so I'm going to move Tyler over to here to where it can be the base of my anvil, help out. I've got artillery along this hillside, artillery along this hillside. That should be pretty solid. These guys can probably move forward a little bit now. I feel pretty safe about that. These guys can move forward as well. McDowell can move forward. I'm going to move my cavalry over to here. My supply wagon can stay right there. So that'll move my artillery up onto this hill. So basically I'll be pouring artillery in massed from this side. Massed from this side as well. Got the anvil right here. Bringing in the hammer from Howard, etc. And then march. So let's try this out. So I'm going to go ahead and bring these guys in. Burnside's going to move forward a little bit. Wilcox is going to move forward a little bit. Burnside's going to stop right there. Wilcox will stop right there. Howard is going to move forward. Alright, Porter's up now. Porter's got the guard duty on the ford. Alright, now we're just gonna Alright, I'm going to move Wilcox up into the forest. Wilcox is going to move up just a little bit, which means Burnside's going to move up a little bit, which means Howard's going to move up a little bit. Hammer and anvil's working pretty well as of right now. You can see the hammer coming down. I got about 6,000 men. They don't have that many men in here. And so we're basically driving them in. We've still got our way out secured. They can't get across the river. Alright, so now with Wilcox, I'm going to go ahead and let Stannard and the skirmishers go. I'm going to go ahead and bring him across. Wilcox is going to turn, move forward on this angle. Although I am a bit tempted here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and... Wilcox is going to come around there like this. So the downside of the interior lines is you make yourself susceptible to the old hammer and anvil movement. Hammer and anvil maneuver is pretty difficult to pull off, so I'm actually pretty proud of myself for pulling that off as well as I have here. Let's go ahead and move forward with Burnside a little closer. Move forward with Howard. I want to halt with Wilcox. I don't know what he's doing. Wilcox, aim that way. Let's shift here. There you go. Let's face that way. I don't care that these idiots are behind me. Now I'm going to go ahead and charge across. I'm going to go ahead and move up to the ford with Sherman. I'm going to go ahead and move up to the riverbank with Keyes. Franklin's firing across the river. We're good to go there. Alright, we're going to have a counterattack here, but we're pretty condensed. I feel pretty solid about this. We're rear flanked from behind by cavalry, or by artillery. But Wilcox... Alright, Sherman, move across the river now. I think I've got the Confederates on the run here. Let's go ahead and go double time across the river. River is where we're most susceptible. We have 10% cover there. Very low cover. Alright, so the Confederates are going to counterattack. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. I need to go ahead and consolidate my forces to defend Henry Hill. I'm basically going to be facing a new onslaught from the south. So this might get a little interesting. But I think we're in pretty good condition. We already basically did the hammer and anvil. It's going to be a little confusing because we're going to have a lot of Confederate troops in between our two lines now, because we're basically going to have to set up a new line on Henry Hill in these woods and in these buildings. We're going to need to take these buildings and need to take these woods to then turn our attention southward to the... there's going to be a lot of troops coming from the south. I'll probably need to get Sherman up onto this fence line to try to help hold this ford. And I'll probably need to move Keyes and maybe Tyler down to try to hold that ford, because I like the way my cannons are dispensed along this hillside here. That's great, but if the enemy comes across that ford, then I'm in trouble. I also need to see what this group of troops is up here to the north, because I could probably use them. The only group really got to worry about is Jeb Stuart's got some cavalry in my rear right now. But I think I've got Porter over here, who kind of at least is guarding my flank. I'm going to leave Porter there to hold up. You know, I might leave Tyler and Franklin where they're at too, because if I get a counterattack that comes up to the west, then Porter will be able to hold this ford for a while I move Franklin and Tyler over to defend this hill. I'm not exactly sure what the enemy will do. I think they have kind of a blank slate. I believe in the actual battle they had counterattacked to the west here. So I'll be wary of that, like I said. But this east side ford is vulnerable for me as well. And this is where not having interior lines really hurts me, because if I get a counterattack to the east, I have to shift a ton of my reserves a long way. If I get a counterattack to the west, I have to shift a ton of my reserves a long way to this side. It's very difficult to decide what I want to do. I have three groups of infantry in the middle. I'm smashing the hammer into the anvil right now. I've got basically all these Confederates caught in the middle. That's wonderful, except the fact that now the counterattack's coming from the south, so really these three groups of infantry might end up caught in the middle of their own hammer and anvil attack. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed part 2, and this was a true whiskey play, so I'm stuttering through things, I'm sure. And I'll have some more whiskey and then start part 3 here in a second.